On this episode of Home Dad Chat.
I fell in the water again. And it
Oh
was
boy.
and it felt good because it was cold and it was very refreshing. And then I had to find another way to pull the thing out and dump all the water out of it. And it was a comedy of errors. I was cussing so much under my breath. I let Marnie get far enough ahead so I wouldn't hurt her feelings and just all of the garbage that was coming out of my mouth. And the phrase kept going, who thinks this is fun? Who thinks this is fun? This is not fun. There's no fun here. This isn't a job. This is work. This is effort. This isn't like the effort you get when you're hiking and you get to see all. No, this is just pure, I got to keep myself from falling in the water again. How's that going to happen? How do I get around this hornet? And it was just hilarious. And I am sore all over because I'd already worked all morning in the heat, right?
Welcome to Home Dad Chat, brought to you by the National At-Home Dad Network. My name is Brock,
My name is Danny.
and we are here to talk about life as stay-at-home dads. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
No, I don't want much. I even love handmade crafts made of macaroni. Come on now, you should know me. Times I might eat too much. No worry about my weight. Got the dad bod rocking on me. Sketches on my feet. Cargo shorts look good on me. I'm a dad, that's what I do.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying dry as the weather in this country has decided to get a little bit angry, especially if you're down south, all the people in Florida, Texas, the Gulf Coast area. Hope everybody stays safe down there as one tropical depression turns into a hurricane and all that fun stuff that just puts you on edge as a parent.
Well, we
Oh.
we talked about previously, talked about a lot. Don't talk about the weather. Talk about something else. But
When it's the
the
headlining
weather
thing in the
is like,
country.
yeah, I mean, there's headlines that we can't really talk about that we don't want to get into. There's a lot of crap going on in the world that we're like, nah, we don't want to talk about that. But the weather is big news. The weather's all over. And
Yeah.
it's very important, I think, as someone that is doing all the cognitive labor for your children, especially in the middle of summer, is to know what the weather is going to be. What are you going to face when you take your kids out there? Is it going to be extreme heat? Is it going to be weather? Water? Is it going to be flooding like we just talked about a few minutes ago off air? What's going on that my kids and I are going to have to walk through today?
Right.
So it's important to
What do I
know
need
about
when
the
I go
weather,
shopping
understand
with
it.
my kids?
Right. Yeah. We're going to the park. Maybe we're not going to the park today because it's going to be 107 degrees or whatever. Yeah. But
Or to
it's
be sitting
hard
in
to
the
not talk about it. It's a very important topic.
or be sitting in the car for a while when we get to the grocery store waiting for it to stop downpouring before we go
Yeah.
walk into
Right.
the store without umbrellas because we didn't bring them thinking that we were going to get caught in a rainstorm.
Right. Right. Teaching your kids to be prepared for these things, showing them this is what we do. We have this, we're going to face this. What do we take with us? Where we get our raincoats? Do we get our umbrellas? Do we get our big rubber boots and just go stomping in puddles, which is also very viable. And I think I recommend everybody do it
Yeah.
when possible. What are we going to do in teaching your kids how to handle those things that are coming up? Because most of us are going to be in a position financially that you're going to have to get wet when it rains. You're going to
Yeah.
have to go out there. You're going to have to be in the weather. If it's cold, you're going to have to be prepared for it. Take you out there.
Are your kids of the kind that don't wear layers when they go places? I mean, I know you're from the north, so it's a little bit different,
Oh,
but I mean,
we're
like,
not
do
from the
or
north.
you live in the north. Sorry,
Yeah,
you're not
okay.
from the north.
Because
Sorry,
we
you now
weren't
live in the north.
trained. We weren't trained. If I'd lived in the north, if I'd grown up here, I would had known way better how to get dressed for the weather. But no,
Sorry, you're
we
king
did
of the.
not.
You went to
We
see the
didn't.
king of the north. You're close to the wall. It's okay. I
You're
get it.
very close to the
Winter
wall.
is
That's
coming.
very true. That's
Yes.
very true. But we do learn how to wear layers, and what kind
Good.
of layers to wear, and that's very important. Wearing a base layer of, and I kid you not, a mesh shirt is the suggested base layer from when you're going to go hiking or camping so that you can take off layers so you don't sweat. And a mesh shirt will dissipate that sweat faster. And I'm like, I'm not buying a mesh shirt unless back in, I don't know, the 70s, people bought mesh shirts and went to the club, wherever, the
I think that was an
disco,
80s thing. Yeah, you had
was
the
it
guy in the
80s even? Wait,
80s.
okay,
Yeah.
80s and kind of the emo kind of mosh pits. Yeah, mesh shirts are all, that's a fashion thing. But man, I do not want to ever own or wear a mesh shirt. And I don't
Have
want
you
to
ever
see
seen
anybody wearing a mesh
Have you ever
shirt.
seen the movie 40 First Dates with Adam Sandler
50,
and or
50
50
first
First
thing.
Dates? Yeah, 50
I
First
did see
Dates.
that one. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that movie.
Where you got and there's the brother who has the mesh shirt and he's doing all the way.
Yeah, there's no need for that. No. No,
Oh
tank tops are
gosh.
bad enough. I don't need to see your whole. If you just take the shirt off, why are you even wearing
Yeah.
that?
But
But
no, though,
again,
like,
for winter, that is a way that it's very important that you are able to dissipate that moisture off of yourself when you start getting too hot and start to sweat, or it'll freeze on you and you'll die. Very important to know. Very important.
well, there's just this generation though of kids right now. It seems like they don't think about where they're going and what things could be. Like for instance, hey, I'm gonna go to a movie or I'm gonna go to the grocery store
Hmm.
and it might be cold in there, so maybe just bringing a light long sleeve to throw on for that time period or whatever. And then you hear them
Sure.
complain about it's so cold, and you're like,
So
screw that.
I just want to point out though, because I guess not as old as you, and I don't see it as a kid problem. I see it as a people problem because I know fully rational, educated, intelligent adults who
Okay,
do
fine.
not dress for the weather. Do not. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, we knew it was gonna be cold. I'm old enough now. I'm an adult. I'm over 20. So I have the ability to decide for myself what I need to wear, look at the situation, and show up. And we're going to the movie theater.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not going to get cold. So I'm not bringing a hoodie or a jacket or a blanket. But I know the love of my life is always cold, which is insane to me. And I will absolutely bring something for her. And she knows it's coming. She's been in a movie theater multiple times. She knows, and she doesn't think about it. She doesn't do it. And I'm like,
I
all right,
I think it's funny that nowadays it's a common move to just bring a blanket with you into the
mhm,
movie theaters. Like,
yeah,
and they sell them at the movie theaters now.
yeah, it's
Cinemark.
fantastic. It's fantastic.
We go to Cinemark on a regular basis because of the summer movies and stuff. And it's so funny because yeah, they've got a rolled up fleece blanket there, moniker or whatever for their
Yeah,
thing. And
yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah. I mean,
And if you're
you
there
got it.
and you're that cold and you forgot it and you look at a blanket, God, that blanket is, I don't know, $35, but I'm really cold. Okay. And you're going to drop that 35 bucks on a
Yes,
blanket. You'll
you
forget
are.
the next time. You won't bring it back.
Yeah, that $10
That's not
that
a kid
that
problem.
$5 fleece blanket that they're selling for 35 bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
For
I
real.
say I bought these from Goodwill. I know they're not that expensive. Yeah. Yeah.
No
But
kidding.
again, I understand that kids do absolutely. I mean, the hoodie thing, it's fascinated me for years in that teenagers especially will wear a hoodie constantly. Summer, still wearing a hoodie. And it just
Yeah.
like in the middle of winter here, a hoodie and shorts. And I see it everywhere. It's not just my kid. So because I had to double check because I thought my kid might have lost their sanity. But yeah, it's what they do. And I don't get it. I don't really like hoodies personally, only because I get hot and I want to be able to take that layer off. If it's a zip up or something, fine. But an actual
Yeah.
hoodie, yeah, I'm committed to a hoodie. All right. If I put on a hoodie, I'm going to keep it on all day. And I don't like that kind of heat commitment. But seeing them do it, and I mean, probably for the last 3 years, I've thought about why. What is it that does it for you? And honestly, it makes a lot of sense when you think about where a teenager's brain is, where their mind is developing, and that they want one anonymity. If they need to, and they're in a social situation, they feel like it, they want to put that hood up and just be kind of invisible for a minute.
Yes.
It's very comforting for them, right? And then two, it's kind of like almost an armor. I don't have to be wearing an outfit. I don't have to look like anybody or anything. I am just a gray or green or whatever the color is, a brown blob. I'm just a person here and I don't have to be making a statement. I don't have to be getting dressed really. I'm just here doing the thing I have to do quietly, again, hood up anonymously, and it's armoring me from having to be social. And it makes a lot of sense, I think. I think it's very, but it's dumb. Okay. It's just dumb. I understand there's a reason, but just would you put on some pants? No, no, I don't need pants. Shorts are fine as long as I've got this hoodie to keep me alive, I guess.
I will say that I've always gone as part of the camp of if I've got a if I've got a long sleeve on in a place and I'm wearing shorts, I'm warm. My legs, not a big deal. And I think that's kind of where that comes, like
Sure. Yeah.
wearing that.
I wear a kilt. I get it. I mean, it's incredibly warm, but still, put some pants on. It's winter.
Yeah. So with the fact though that we were talking earlier about weather stuff and whatnot, and we were talking with Joe about this too, like home improvement or things that kind of come up. I swear it's like things you're like, oh, that's not a big deal until something happens and it becomes a bigger deal. For me is the fact that I had to basically dig a trench that's, I don't know, 15 feet long to find a sump pump drain to see what was
Oh yeah.
going on with it, to find out that I'm the problem. And because of putting in the concrete pad, now I have to reassess how I'm going to drain that sump pump out because of the fact that it started flooding the other day and it just caused all kinds of problems. I'm like, good Lord, I'm just giving myself projects I don't need right now. This is awful.
Right.
So yeah, just
And
it's
the
one of
wait,
those.
and you had a professional do this, though, right? To put that pad in, correct?
We did, but the thing with
Okay.
it was like they took out for the 4 inch drain, but the thing was like I didn't know that was there because the way that they found it, or I found it, or however it was, it just didn't look like it was connected to anything. And so we
Yeah.
didn't really pay any attention to it or any care to it or whatever. And then when this happened, I was like digging and all of a sudden like it goes underneath the pad and I see that and I'm just like, son of a like, and so then I start like following around on it to go out, and I end up laying down in my alley and looking underneath the metal culvert that goes underneath our driveway out there. And sure enough, there's like 4 inch PVC that's basically dumping the sump water into that, and it's
Mm-hmm.
draining out into the storm drain. And I'm just like, gosh dang it, man. I'm like, it's nice that I found that because I can be like, all right, there is actual like dedicated piping on the other side of the concrete that I can tap into, but I got to
Mm-hmm.
get from one side to the other now, and that's going to be the fun part of it all. But
Yeah. Yeah. Fun,
yeah.
quote unquote.
Well, I was joking with Corey about the fact that I'm like, well, it's interesting the things that you do younger in life that then because of those things now you have some like knowledge that isn't really based off of, oh, I went and got this skill kind of thing. It just sort of something that happened. And I used to work at a place that was a lumber yard. Electricians came there, plumbers came there, kind of deal. And so I worked in the electrical and plumbing side of things because the lumber side was its own entity. And I learned a lot about what is used for drainage and like all these different things. So as soon as I saw it, I'm like, well, guess I'm gonna have to go get this and this. And Corey's looking
Mm-hmm.
at me and she's like, you're talking a different language right now. Just go get whatever it is you need and fix this issue. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
I'm like
it's
very appreciative of the fact that I was like, well, I wasn't a huge fan of this job when I was a teenager, but the knowledge is still there in my brain.
mhm. Yep. You don't know when you're going to need it.
Right. So, and that's the thing with our kids, where it's like, hey, go get a job doing this. Just go find something that you find a little bit interesting or has some sort of indication that you might be able to use this later in life type of thing. That's I tell the kids that all the time. Hey, when you get of age, we're gonna go around and see what kind of things we can find for you to do that you like. For instance, Hezekiah wants to be a marine biologist, and I'm just like, all right, dude, go maybe work at like an actual like fish store, like a aquatic shop or something like that. And it just so happens I came across one on TikTok actually that's just over in northern Kentucky that deals with saltwater tanks and everything like that. And I'm just like, it would be perfect for him to go over and work at and learn some things, learn some creature care and all that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
but that's just finding those things that kids are like, I want to do this. And it's all right, well, let's put you in a scenario where it's like low grade those kind of things and see if that's really what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Get some exposure. I remember Fabian wanted to be a vet for a long time, veterinarian. And I'm like, no, you don't. This is not the job you think it is. You do not
you're
want
not
to do
pe-
this job.
you're
I will
not
be
cuddling
happy
up
to.
with puppies.
That is not the job. No, no, it is. There is that. You do have a moment where you're introducing a puppy to a new family or you're getting them their health shots and all that things. And then there's the other end of it. And you're at both
Yep.
ends of that spectrum and you're at every point of that. And the majority of your day is spent with animals that are in pain. And I said, I understand. Try it. And don't go to college, get a degree, put your hopes on it until you've experienced it. And we just went and just helped with our own animals. And then over at a friend's farm who had goats, and they were having goats being born. And he was fascinated. It was cool. It was great. But by the end, he was like, yeah, I don't want to do this forever. I like animals. That's all. And I'm like, yeah, you like animals. That doesn't mean you want to be a veterinarian. That's not, I mean, it's a part of it, but that's not what it's about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to be able to kind of give kids a little bit more of extra light into what it is that they're interested in and be like, sure, this is what you want to do. Like,
Yeah.
just want to make
Yeah.
sure.
Just check it. Just try it and see what you think. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
And
like
it's like with
they,
any activities they do, extracurricular stuff. And I hate it because it's always expensive. It's like, oh, you want to try this sport? Okay, all right. And you're just going to try it for a month or two and then quit. Okay, we got to buy $500 worth of equipment to get you there. No, it's probably more like $150, but still, it's
yeah,
just a commitment that you've got to get into. But it's good for them. It's good for them to see it and experience it and then come away from it and go, oh, okay. We were watching the World Cup last night, and it was great. It was a great game, and all the kids were there, and the couple would wander in and out every once in a while. But they were like, ah, "I remember when we played soccer and blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Well, why didn't we keep playing?" I'm like, "Because you hated it. You told me you did not want to go back anymore. You were tired. This other one didn't hate it, but they were like, man, we could do something else. You wanted to experience other things, and." I'm not the kind of parent that I shove you into something and you will stay there until you've perfected it.
yeah.
Try it. Play the French horn. You don't like it? Play something else.
Well, and
Get
it's one
that
of those things too.
experience.
It's
And
like it's the idea of, hey, like you're watching people who have been practicing and they've done all these different things and they're at this point, and so it looks really easy and it looks very exciting and interesting,
right,
but it's you don't get to see what they went through
right.
to get where they are.
Yep.
I was when I went to the all day thing at Great American Ballpark with my dad and my son, the guy that they had come in was a former pitcher for the Reds, and he was talking about how like he went through like Tommy John surgery and how bad it was and different things like that. And he was talking about how like oh the kid, how the question's always did you always know that you wanted to be a major league baseball player or whatever? And he was like actually like that was the furthest thing from my mind. I enjoyed playing baseball, but it wasn't until I had a coach who was like, I see potential in you, but you're going to have to work really hard to get there. It's not something that's easy, but if you really bear down on it, you can get there. And I was sitting across from my dad and I just looked at him and I was like, your grandson, my nephew, needs to hear this because somebody mentioned that about him at the end of his baseball season just recently. And he pitching like Pony League or something like that, but he's got potential. And one of the high school coaches was like, you should really consider coming out for the team. But he's one of those kids sometimes that it's like you really need to get the cattle prod out to get him to do anything. And even
Yeah.
then, like he's got the ability to just be a stubborn bull about it. So
Right.
I was like, man, I was like, this is what he needs to hear. And there are just so many kids that are like that. There's a guy actually currently pitching for the Reds who has been through Tommy John surgery 3 times, which is insane
Wow. Yeah.
because just once is painful enough. And the road to it, it's like, I think he said
Oof.
it's 14 months of just all this stuff to just, and then come back and then have it happen again, but to
Wow.
have it happen three
Yeah.
times. And he's actually apparently written a book about his experience throughout the whole thing. And he self-published it. So I'm like, oh, this will be cool to get and read because I'm curious to know exactly what he did go through because it can just crush your spirit. I mean, for real. But that's the thing. Yeah, watching World Cup, you're like, man, these guys are amazing. I want to go do that. And then you see all of what they go through, and you're like, maybe not so much. And that's why I like the shows like Ted Lasso, for instance. Ted Lasso
Hmm.
shows a lot of great behind the scenes of what players go through. Another one that's really good is the Wrexham. Welcome to Wrexham show. Like you get all kinds of behind the scenes there too with players and things and get to see what's going on. But it's that kind of stuff that when a kid says, I want to do this, is like, all right, let's sit down and talk about the process, what this is going to be. Hockey, all right, you're going to be getting up super early in the morning because you got to get to the rink and you got to do these things. My
Mhm.
son's doing jujitsu. Okay, well, every day you have your hour long time in the gym there. And he got invited to one where he does 2 hours on Saturdays. And he's like, man, I'm sore. And we're like, that's good. There's
Yep.
nothing wrong
It's
with being
growth.
sore. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to actually make you stronger and getting them to realize that. And I think that's one of the things like with a lot of kids, they get to the point where like, oh, I'm in pain. This is awful. And that's where you got to push through that wall to get to the next thing. It's one
Hmm.
thing if it's an extenuating pain where it's like it never stops, but it's if it's one where you're like, I just had a
Yeah.
really hard workout and I'm in pain, like, all right, pop some ibuprofen, put some ice on it, get some
Right.
water, drink some whatever it is that has potassium in it, that kind of thing. Get yourself back to somewhere and do it again. You'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And the difference between pain and injury, or hurt and injury. You
Yes.
can play hurt. You can absolutely play hurt. If you're injured, you need to stop. Injured is different. Injured is something you can
Mhm.
take care of and get some rest for, or what have you. And that's a point where you can look at it and go, okay, when I used to train, it was like, okay, I've injured my left wrist. All right, well, I'm not going to use my left wrist, but I'm going to keep training. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do whatever I can do, footwork, or I can do rolls on the other side or something like that. But I'm
Yep.
not going to stop. But I'm definitely not going to push that injured thing, which is something that a lot of times we kind of push people through in sports or expect them to play. Yeah, you can play hurt. You can play hurt. You shouldn't really play injured though. And that's one of the things that I've taught my kids. I'm like, look, no, you're aching. Like you said, you worked out. Yeah, we worked out. You got DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. Yeah, you can feel it. Cool. You should. That's your muscles rebuilding and getting bigger and stronger.
Yeah.
Get back out there. Let's go again and let's do it. It's been we had our arms and shoulders 4 days ago. It's time to do it again or whatever and get through that discomfort.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. That's a positive. So,
Well, in this time of year too, it's football season for high schools and stuff are starting up. They got two-a-days going on. There's also band practices that are going
hmm,
on out in the sun. So there's
yeah,
that side of it. And it should be very much not put on the side that these kids are putting their bodies through things that are new to them and just being able to communicate and say, hey,
right.
like I need these things or I feel like this. And then of course at that point it's on the training staff that's there to
Hmm.
take them seriously and actually help them get to that point. And I when you were talking about just being hurt and playing hurt, that kind of thing, I was thinking of there was a whole series where it seemed like back in the late 90s, early 2000s, where there were a lot of sports movies that came out were showing how basically, especially younger kids, like high school kids, were being like pressured to take is it hydrocortisone, like some sort of
Cortisol,
cortisol shots and stuff
cortisone,
like that. Yeah, something like that.
the
Where
painkiller.
painkiller, yeah,
Sure.
and to get back out there. And I just remember Varsity Blues was very much like
Hmm.
right in your face about just yeah, I'm on a championship team and I get it, coach, you want to win, but I don't need to be doing this and then permanently hurting myself later type of thing just for
Hmm.
your glory. No. And I feel like that was kind of like the turning point for a lot of different athletes to be able to just kind of, hey, I'm not going to do, they just kind of are like, I need to take care of myself kind of thing. And that was it. You see it more and more now too. And especially with like concussion protocols now,
Right.
just the amount of think of all the football legends that we watched and all the things and
Yep.
then now there's so many of them who have passed away for different reasons that are connected with that and I'm really thankful that they take that concussion protocol seriously. I feel like some of the players don't sometimes take it because they're just like they're
Well,
ramped up and
yeah,
want to just go, but
it's back
you're gonna
into that.
sit in here.
Yeah.
So
And was it
yeah.
Varsity Blues where the it was one of the linebackers maybe that would slam his head into the locker?
I
The big guy? Was
maybe
that Varsity Blues maybe?
there's a couple
There are
movies where guys
several,
do
yeah.
that.
And that's the thing is, okay, if you hit a locker right, sure. Yeah, it's like punching sheetrock. That's easy. That's no, yeah, anybody put their hand through sheetrock. But if you hit a
Right.
stud behind the sheetrock, you broke your hand and it's done. It's like, okay,
Yep.
there's the injury you were talking about. Right. So I know for me, Friday, I think I've told you in the past, we've talked about this, that I do try to go on a date with my wife on Fridays. We generally just go get some lunch together and then go walk around town or do something in town, whatever. So we decided that we were going to get with my younger brother and take kayaks down the river.
Okay.
And he wanted to have the experience and see what kind of kayak he would want to buy because they're very expensive. And he said, let's just rent one. Let's get somebody to show us the route and let's just try it. And then I'll have a better idea. Cool. Unfortunately, the smoke was so bad up here and he has a very bad
Oh.
smoke allergy. So he couldn't go. So it was just the two of us. And I'm like, this is cool. I like this is fine. I'll miss my brother a little bit, but it's just me and Marnie. Anyway, this is perfect. So I didn't look up the route. Marnie suggested, hey, let's go with these people. They're local here at the big park. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen them. We know them. That we go down there and they've got their canoes and kayaks on the beach. And yeah, we know exactly where they're at. Yeah. Okay. So we get up there and they take a van up to with a trailer up to where they're going to put us out up by Jordan Pond. Cool. And he's like, so just so you know, this is generally about a 3.5, 4 hour trip. And I went, what? And so what now? And he said, but it probably is going to take you a good bit longer, just so you know, there are multiple places where the trees are down to the point where you have to portage around them.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, okay, I want that experience. It's like what we're talking about. Is you get uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is where you learn the most, right? Okay, so I want to try this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. There were a lot of trees down, and it was a constant. There was maybe 20, 30 minutes of the whole time where we weren't trying to paddle left, right, around the fallen trees and under them. There were two spots where the limbs were within 2.5, 3 feet of the surface of the water, right? And there was a hornet's nest about the size of a cantaloupe hanging there. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
oh, cool, 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 cool. What are we going to do now? Get stung by bald-faced hornets while we're going on the thing. So it took us 4 hours. And again, it's like an 8 mile trip. I was not expecting this. I learned a couple of things. One, always investigate it, you big dummy. Figure out what you're going to commit to before you commit to it, because I didn't bring enough water.
Oh
And
no.
I only had one bottle. I drank one before we got in, and it had a liquid IV, and that should be okay. And I'd had plenty of water all morning. I was working out on the farm, and so I'm like eating properly and all that, but did not bring enough sustenance for this big fat man to survive. And then we get out there, and I'm for whatever reason, I'm going underneath some limbs, and kayaks and canoes to me are completely different animals. And
Oh yeah.
I can guide a canoe easily, but I could not figure the kayak out at first. I was like, what am I doing? How am I? And so I went to a limb and I leaned over to go under the limb just to move. And of course, I'm a big guy. You lean over and the whole kayak, and I'm in the water, right?
Oh
I
my
immediately
gosh.
lose my water bottle, which I
Oh no.
honestly, I only feel bad that I polluted, that somewhere out there in the river is a water bottle that I put in there. I try to really not do that. And then on the next time with the hornets, I leaned over. Everything was fine. I figured out the balance. I'm good. I got better as we're going. And then I'm like, oh, I got to take my hat off. I yanked my hat off so the limbs wouldn't and the hornets wouldn't hit it. And he grabbed my glasses and threw them in the water, and they're gone. And I'm like, good.
Oh
And
no.
I had the strap, but I didn't put it on. I don't know. So again, we're talking about how kids don't prepare for where they're going into. Neither do adults, evidently, because I failed all over this course, all over this 8 mile trip down the freaking river.
Jeez.
But I learned a lot.
Yeah.
I did learn how the difference between maneuvering a canoe and a kayak, completely different. I learned being able to look ahead and going, okay, we can make it under there. We can go around that. This is where this is. Reading the water, where you can look at it and go, okay, it's obviously more shallow there. It's deeper there. We want to go over here. How to get in and out of a kayak. I learned that very well. How to empty a kayak full of water. Learned that one too. Didn't want to, but sure did. Yeah, learned it twice, in fact.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And learned more than anything, reiterated, because I've known this for years. My wife is very competitive. I don't care what she says. She wants to be first, she wants to be in front. And if you slow down in front of her, it'll be just like walking in front of somebody with a shopping cart and they run over your heels. Because 3 times this woman comes crashing. Oh, I'm sorry, crash. And I'm like, if I'm behind you, I will never hit you unless it's like it'd be a very rare circumstance. Everybody's clogged up or something. I stay back far enough. I'm not going to run you over in your kayak when you hit a log. And guess what? My love, my dearest moon and stars, just wrecking me, just like bumper cars. And I'm just like, no, you go ahead. You go. I will let you go. And I didn't even call the second time. So there was a tree that it was evidently right on the side of the river, and it had fallen over into the river. So it's got like a 6 or 8 foot high stump or the root system right there, and it's all the way across the river, and there's no way across that I can see. And at the very last minute, Marnie yells at me from way, hey, go around the roots, go around the roots. And I'm looking over there and there's enough space, just like maybe 4 feet max to get through there. I'm like, oh, okay. So I had to paddle back upstream, get around another stump. I'm going down beside it. And for whatever reason, I get beside that big giant stump and I put my hand on it to push myself away from it, which is stupid because if you push yourself away, you're pushing your center of gravity over and I fell in the water again. And it was, and it felt good because it was cold and it was very refreshing. And then I had to find another way to pull the thing out and dump all the water out of it. And it was a comedy of errors. I was cussing so much under my breath. I let Marnie get far enough ahead so I wouldn't hurt her feelings and just all of the garbage that was coming out of my mouth. And the phrase kept going, who thinks this is fun? Who thinks this is fun? This is not fun. There's no fun here. This isn't a job. This is work. This is effort. This isn't like the effort you get when you're hiking and you get to see all, no, this is just pure, I got to keep myself from falling in the water again. How's that going to happen? How do I get around this hornet? And it was just hilarious. And I am sore all over because I'd already worked all morning in the heat, right? And so I was done. I probably just should have just gone home. I was already tired. And I get out on the water and I'm like, no, I'm not going to quit. And I pushed it, even though I was hurting. And I do feel better because of it. But I couldn't straighten my legs out yesterday morning and I couldn't reach over my head. Yeah. 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 So this right now is, woo,
There
look
you
at
go.
that. I have muscles that are, yeah, like I'm flapping my wings like a chicken now. I'm not going to, it was hilarious. I got to tell you. And I want to go back. I don't want to take a kayak. I'm not sure that I could get the canoe through a lot of areas, but if I had a canoe, I think I would have been much better off. I think I could have really just maneuvered a lot more stuff. If I fell over, it would have been much more difficult because it's a big canoe and a small
Yeah.
kayak. But at the same time, I already want to go back and do it again. And I'm wondering what deep seated masochism I must have in my brain that I look at this thing like this is a challenge. This really kicked my butt. I mean, I made it through, but I wouldn't say that I won. If it was a contest, that river beat me. I mean, I finished, I got all the way through, I didn't quit, whatever, but still, I don't feel like I won. I feel like that
That's
river's
the
like,
but
I hate boosh,
that's a
but I'm
normal
ready to go
mindset
back.
though. Yeah, that's a
I'm
normal
ready to go
mindset. You're
back.
like, I did this, but I can do it so much better.
Definitely, definitely better.
I need to be able to say I went back and I whooped that river's butt. Like,
Right?
yeah,
Right?
the redemption
Yeah.
story. I think
The
everybody
hero's
wants
arc, the hero's
the
journey.
redemption
Yes.
story. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it is. I think
I have
it's
four lives. I used one up there. I've got three more to go. Let's do this.
let's go. I can make it. That's right.
Yeah, I get it, man. Man, when you get on the river, especially when you're in an area where you're not sure, it can definitely be very interesting what you come
Yeah.
upon. Especially if it's not a big river too. That's the other thing. If it's like bigger than a creek but smaller than like a very wide
Yeah.
river, you never know what you're going to get into.
If a tree can fall all the way across it and hit the
Oh
other
yeah.
side, that's a troublesome. But again, and what was funny is the guide told us, he's like, well, it's just so you know, we have been trying to get out there and cut limbs back where we could. There's laws about it and such, so there's not a lot they can do. But there's one place where a tree has fallen all the way across it, and you're going to have to portage around it. Okay, so we got out there and we went to one. Like, oh yeah, this is it, because there's a spot where people have had to. You see the grass is all matted down, and so okay, so we'll because the grass is 6 feet high or something. It's like really wetlands area. So we get up and we go around, right? And no alligators, which is I seriously the whole time I'm like, this is where alligators live. I'm gonna die, but I know there's none here supposedly. So we get out and we go around it. I'm like, well, that must have been it. We go to another one and it's a bigger tree. And it also has a portage around it. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess this is it. And the first one was newer or something. No, there were 6 different times where we had to stop and get out of the kayak and carry it across the ground or drag it across the little muddy spots and get back in. And I'm like, I think that they don't actually go down, haven't gone down this in a couple of days or maybe a week, and they don't know how many trees are down, but they know if they tell you, hey, there's a tree down in the way, you'll have to get out, that you're expecting it,
Mm-hmm.
And you're not like, oh God, I gotta get out now. What are you talking about? And you think, well, that must have been it. Oh no, this one must have been it. That first one was not as bad. Oh no, this one must have been it. It's even worse. Yeah, and I think that's just a prep, a lie almost that it's a story they tell you to get your mind right that you're gonna have to get out and portage through the mud.
Just a
But it
lot
was
of
still
sleeping ints is all
just
it comes down to. Just- they just taking a long nap. That's all.
yep, yeah, just laying across.
That's the
But it
one thing I haven't
was
done in a
really
while,
cool.
though. I haven't gotten out in the river to go kayaking in a while. So we actually have, we have the Little Miami River, and it's actually really nice to canoe and kayak. And so, there, but the spot that typically people will pull out at is currently having a big construction thing done because they're finally turning it into an actual place. People hang out there all the time. It's got a parking lot and stuff, but it just that's all it was, like a parking lot, and then you took this long walking trail to get down to the river, and then everybody hung out down there. I mean, it was the place where you drive across the bridge, you see everybody playing in the
Yeah,
water. There's people fishing at one end, and then there's kids in tubes at the other end, kind of thing. And they finally got, I don't know if it was money around or people just petitioning for it to happen, but they're like, oh, we can put in kayak and canoe lockers and we can actually develop this trail and put in some real bathrooms and like all this stuff. And so they're doing all that. But now for the summer, it's like we don't have access to it because you
yeah.
can't get out of it at that spot. So it's kind of a bummer. So there's not as I haven't seen very many people out on the river because of it, and there's no other places to pull out in that area. So you actually have to go even further up the river to put in, and then
Mm,
pull out at a different location. So, but
wow.
that location is not the easiest for getting out. It's great for getting in because you're literally just dropping a canoe or kayak down to the river. But to pull it out is after you've been paddling is just a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
it sounds
just not the year for getting out there and doing that. So
later it'll be good. Later it'll be
yeah,
good.
once everything's open,
Your
so I'm
kids will
looking
love
forward to
it.
that.
Your kids will love
Yeah,
it. When they get their own kayaks and they're out there. That'll be about time it's finished.
there you go. Yeah, well, and I'm just waiting for that time too, where it's like we can just take kayaks and not have to worry about taking a canoe. That's fun too, because then you have a little
Yeah.
more freedom. That's
Yeah. I'm all over. I want to go canoeing solo. I just want to get out there and disappear and just
yeah,
be gone for a day. And what was really interesting is I don't know if you, I assume you've heard of the Boundary Waters
yeah.
uh, between, I mean, beautiful, wonderful, amazing place that they had to evacuate last week because of the fires in
Oh
Canada.
no,
Now, think about it. You're going out into the Boundary Waters, you're not coming back for several days. You probably don't have direct communication with anyone unless you happen to bring a satellite phone or something. Think about
jeez,
how many people could have been out there and just
yeah,
not understood what was going on. I felt awful for the people that must have been out there. Not you're going to you cut your vacation short, and of course that's all bad. Oh, that's grumpy. But we're talking about people that are possibly stuck out in the woods that will soon be burning. And how do they
yeah. See,
know,
that's I think
what's
if I
going on?
saw that heavy of smoke, I would not be questioning what's going on and getting the heck out of there.
But think about it, that American pioneer spirit.
Oh yes,
Oh, it's just a little, yeah, it's smoky. It's fine. It's way over there. We'll be okay. No, we're going to, yeah, okay, you're coughing a little bit. So what? So we'll take the fish out of the water that'll already be smoked. It's fine. That was the
that's
joke
right.
around our town.
Oh,
It's
oh yeah.
catching fish is already smoked. And yeah, neat. No, no, I'm afraid that is now on my list of gear that I will take is either a radio that I know I can always be picking up weather news and what's going on and alerts, some type of emergency. I'm going to hear it. And then two, a communication device that will still operate, satellite phone or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would end up picking up that would be the most intelligent, but
Hey, you just need one of
phew,
those NPR crank weather radios that they give out
I
for being a
wouldn't
member.
mind. Yeah,
That's
they
There you
haven't offered
go.
that one recently that I've seen,
Maybe
but
we need
that
a
I have
national
one.
at-home dad network weather cranking radio
Cranking
for
weather
becoming a member of the support the
membership.
National At-Home Dad Network and get your very own
Right.
monogrammed weather radio for
We
just
can.
those such occasions.
We're writing that down. I'm writing that down. Why not? Why not?
Why not? Who knows?
Who knows?
Well, you were talking about Boundary Waters. I I know that connects to the Mississippi River, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in that area somewhere. But
Yeah,
like
that
there
eventually
was
hits it, I think.
there's a guy in the neighborhood here who actually did the trip from all the way up north, all the way down to the Gulf in a canoe. And
On the Mississippi?
yeah,
Or
yeah,
wow.
yeah, did the whole thing. It was
See,
super wild. He just left and went. He's a younger guy,
yo.
and he had a blast. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he like where it's super wide, you stay off to the side so that way you're not getting in the way of the
You just run
barges
over
and
by the
stuff like that.
ships.
He went through the locks and stuff like that. That was pretty wild. Just all the different aspects. I'm like, man, that would be such an adventure. Like to me, that's a pioneer type adventure to be able to do
Right.
that. So,
And that's the kind of thing, and I don't know why, but I really want to do something like that. Maybe not that much of a commitment. I think after 2 or 3 days, I'll just be like, nah, screw it. I just want to go. I want to get a hotel room. I'm tired. I want to sleep in a bed. And then I have to have a CPAP and all that to sleep. So it could be a lot of gear, a lot of very sinky gear. It just, blah, blah, blah. Where'd that go? Well, I put 5 fobs on it. No, it's still in the bottom of the lake somewhere, the river. But I love the idea of it. I really do. And I'm really excited to get into it around here locally and get my canoe out because it is the smaller one, smaller. 14 and a half foot is a two-person, basically,
yeah.
which means when you're in it as a big guy, you need to make sure you have a cooler full of ice and beer up front to even it out. And that way you don't have to go with somebody else.
No,
But
that helps. Definitely, yeah.
just keep
Got
your
to get
beer.
weight differential. Yeah. And so we were talking about the fact that I want to do the Appalachian Trail. And of course, I have no desire to do that with you. I enjoy little hikes, but I am definitely not going to do that. But at the same time, too, she also doesn't like me being away from her for long periods of time. Going to home dad con sometimes is even
Yeah.
just a bit too much for her. And so I was like, well, we can do it when we have a tiny house that we're gonna build, or even this teardrop that we just got. It could be something where you just drive along, go to the next campsite, you can come pick me up when I go so far. I can put in maybe a couple days out and then come
Mm-hmm.
home, kind of deal, and then do it, keep going and do that. Because there's no real rule to be like, oh, you have to stay on it the whole time. It's like you
No.
just have to do it. So
Yeah.
I was like, that would be the way I would want to. And then she gets to experience it from just hearing, oh, I did this and got to see these things, kind of deal. And,
Yeah. Gets to see
the
your pictures and
replenishing.
stuff. And
Well, and I don't have to worry about food. I have replenishment, that kind of stuff. Cause that's another big thing is like
yeah. You have
sometimes
to mail
people put,
yourself.
well, either that, yeah,
Mhm.
mail stuff to a specific post offices along the way, or have caches hidden somewhere along the trail. It's just all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I love adventure stuff like that, and I try to stay I try to stay active enough to where later on in life, when it comes time to be able to have the time to do that stuff on a more regular basis, I'm actually not having to be like, all right, I can do this, and be like, oh my gosh, I am really out of the realm of this. I should have
I'm
not.
feeling you. I'm feeling
So,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was a fun conversation. I hope that like I said, I hope at the beginning, like we were talking about, everybody stays safe with all the weather stuff going on. Convention is getting closer.
73
That's
days.
Yep, we're getting there. I will say this because I have seen some things on the worksheet or workbook for the convention. If you've bought a ticket and haven't gotten a room, if you're getting a roommate, great. But if you haven't bought a room, what are you thinking? Get
Yeah.
yourself set up with a room. You're not going to have to worry about paying for it right then and there when you reserve it. Deal with that when you get to the hotel later, but you need to get your room. You don't need to be sleeping in a van down by the river, even though we're going to be 3 blocks from the river. Get a room,
You don't want to be
okay?
sleeping in somebody's bathtub. Come on. We've
No,
had that
don't
happen
do
too
that
many
either.
times.
Yeah, and there's not very many park benches around where we're at, so you ain't sleeping on those either. And they don't
Right?
make newspapers anymore,
Get
so
you.
you're screwed for a blanket.
Sleeping under a newspaper. Holy crap.
Sorry, I just had Back to the Future flash in my head with the homeless guy in front of when the
Yeah.
DeLorean comes flying in. Anyway, before my ADHD goes way off another rabbit trail there, you all have a great one, and we'll talk to you all next week.
Good night, everybody.
I'm a dad, that's what I do.